Hey guys, welcome to lesson 2 of our player designer series. In this video, we're going to look at how to get our characters moving around left and right on our screen. So let's begin. Okay, so from my first tutorial, you should have learned how to import your own characters and your own animations already. So what I've done here is I've already imported a series of standing animations as well as an actual animation of my character running. And what we'll need to do is the simple way to get our character moving around is to go into the behaviors of our actor and to add a behavior. And you can do a search for jump and run movement. Okay, and then you can choose that. And then you can select your controls, just match it up left with left, right with right, up for jump, and so on. And then you can select the various different animations that you have to represent what those mean. And you'll have your character moving in no time. Now, what I want to show you actually in this tutorial is something a little bit more difficult than that. So I'm going to remove this behavior. And we're going to go to events. The problem you'll find is that with the pre-created movements of the character tends to slide around sort of in a Mario style fashion. And I don't really want that to happen for my character. And so the way around that is to program it ourselves. So what we're going to do is we're going to add an inventor. We're going to basic when updating. And the way this is going to work is we're going to initially always set the speed of our actor, or the X speed of our actor, to 0. And then depending on which buttons we press, and so that's under user input over here. So we're going to grab 2 of these controllers down. So I'm going to choose my own control. So if I push left button, okay, and likewise with the opposite one, I'm going to choose right. Okay, and I'm going to go back into flow, and I'm going to grab an if and otherwise if. So if I push the left button down, we're going to get our character moving left. If I push the right button down, we're going to get our character moving right. Okay, let's stick that in. And we're going to set the speed of our actor to, for left, we're going to set it to a negative value. Let's say negative 15. And for right, you can set the values to positive 15. Right, and you can change these values as you like, and the speed of that will determine how fast your character moves across the screen. Now, there is one other thing wrong with this as well, is it only sets the speed of our character when we push the button down. It doesn't do anything if we release from our button. However, we do have this extra little bit of code here that will stop the character from moving. And this will mostly work for now. So I'm going to put this character into a new scene right now, and we're just going to see what happens to our character. So I'm going to call this player move basic. Right, and I'm just going to set up a scene here. I'm going to throw up some tiles. I'm going to throw in my character. Okay, and we're going to test the scene out. And the character will just be this current version of him. He'll just be standing and moving around, as you can see here. And so what we'll need to do is we'll need to manually change the animation of our character. So I'm going to go back to my character. I'm going to go back into events. And so to manually change the animation of our character, I'm just going to do a search for animation. You could probably find that under actors. And we're going to need 4 of these because we're going to switch it between the standing left and right animations as well as the running left and right animations. So I'm just going to type those in first. Standing R, standing L, run R, and run L. Now, as you can probably guess already, if we push the right button down, we want to be running right. And likewise, if we're running left, we also want to be running left. Okay, so when do we stand? So what we're going to do here is, in order to manage this, I'm going to add a game attribute. And I might have added this already previously, but it's going to be a text game attribute or variable. And we're just going to call this direction character or character direction. Let's redo that, character direction. And the initial direction is going to be right. Okay, so the character is always facing right. And what we're also going to do is we're going to use that set character direction. We're going to do that twice. And we're also going to use this variable to help us manage which direction our character is facing. And so here I'm going to say set character direction to left and set character direction to right. Okay. Now, just a little reminder, make sure you keep everything case sensitive. So if you use upper and lowercase letters, make sure you use exactly that type of typing. Don't use some uppercase and some lowercase. Okay. Try to keep, when you name all your things, all the naming conventions need to remain exactly the same. That's something you'll need to remember. Okay, so I'm going to use another if and otherwise if. And if the character, I'm going to go back to game attributes. So that last time we were setting the value to left or right. This time we're going to get the value. So click on getters. And we're going to get the character direction. We're going to go back to flow. And we're going to grab two of these equal comparisons. So we're just going to check if the character direction is left or right. And we're going to set the character to have those animations. Okay, we're nearly there. Let's test this out first. Did I test the game out or did I test the scene out? I'm just going to mark this as my starting scene. I'm going to retest the game one more time because that was another file I have. Okay, it's testing it out. Okay, so let me try to move my character left and right. And we can see that there is some change, but he's still standing. He's not running. And so what's going on? Why is that? The reason is that this happens in a sequential order. So even though we made the running animation, we set the running animation, let's say, to the left here, this overrides that running animation with the standing animation. So I'm going to add one more game attribute to manage all of this. And the game attribute we're going to create is character running. And this is going to be a Boolean attribute. And by default, he's not going to be running. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to setters. And we're going to set, all right, if my game attribute isn't there, I'm just going to close this and reopen it. So sometimes, again, this happens with Stencyl. It's not the most perfect thing in the world. So if you create a game attribute and it doesn't show up here, close this down and restart it. Or you can just restart Stencyl completely. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to set the Boolean attribute that we just created called character running. I'm going to set these to true. Okay, and so I'm going to do one more evaluation here. If. Okay, so only if my character is not running. So I'm going to grab a not. I'm going to go to game attribute. And I'm going to grab character running. So if the character is not running, then we show the standing animations. Right? That should work. And hopefully you get your code working. And we shall see you guys in tutorial 3.